So in terms of how to handle, I'm going to talk, of course, more about these, the intellectual emotions, the analytic emotions that are involved. Feelings, I consider feelings and emotions the same thing. You get these impulses, and they have their qualia, and they have an emotional content. So, I've been talking about, it starts from curiosity, goes to comprehension. You can obviously feel like you comprehend something and get it wrong. So that right there proves that it's separate from actually being correct. And if you don't have the feeling of comprehension, if you don't have the feelings of confidence, then you're not going to believe in that thing. And the reasoning, the so-called reasoning, is an emotional process. It's just that it's not all the emotions. You need to limit yourself. There's irrational emotions, love, fear. These things don't even try to help you with what we call intellectual reasoning. And that's generally what people are thinking about when they say to do without their emotions. But another one I wanted to talk about is the feeling of recognition, which is behind identification and all comparisons that are very important in logic. The concept of similarity, recognizing similarity, recognizing dissimilarity. And again, people, you want to tell yourself this is a purely analytic thing, but it's like if you go to Santa Monica with your family and a caricature artist draws a caricature of your mom and go, oh look, it looks just like you, Mom, but not really. It's a cartoon face, big head and a little tiny body and simple. That similarity it comes from a recognition that you feel, not a provable thing. And so what you're trying to do is just like with other emotions, you try to put your feeling of trust in, you try to put your feelings of trust in someone, and you can find later you misplaced it. And that's how you have to double guess your intellectual emotions, the idea that you've identified things. I've noticed people that use fear a lot in their reasoning tend to seem to be related to misidentification. In other words, the fear seems to precede the misidentification. So yeah, identification is an important one, and there's a lot to talk about, and really these feelings do interact with other feelings laterally. I mean, your non-rational feelings can have a strong influence biasing your recognizing things and identifying them, which affects your categorization, which affects your logic. So, really, to think rationally without your emotions is really just, we're talking about these ones that are not reliable. It's trying to limit yourself like a Vulcan to just the analytic emotions that help you do analysis, identification, curiosity, comprehension. Double checking those things. Double check your comprehension. That's why in science we actually limit our sense of comprehension to things that can be checked, right? Things that can be, that you can falsify with an experiment. And so basically what you want to do is you want to have a process that goes from curiosity to comprehension, and in the middle it's unmolested by your gut reactions to things, those kind of emotions. And where your regular emotions come into this process is they get to spark your curiosity. You can go ahead and be, it's acceptable to get curious about, I don't know, riding a bike. So you get curious about all the things and people that have ridden bikes and where it was invented. That's fine. But then leave those emotions out of while you're collecting all the facts, while you're identifying things. Try to keep those emotions to the side, just looking through the glass or whatever. And then when you get to your conclusions, you got to try to apply those, possibly in limited ways, so that you can experiment and check that if that sense of comprehension seems justified by your ability to apply what you think you comprehend, the knowledge you think you comprehend. And this is really what you guys are bad at. This is why you have trouble figuring things out. Intelligence isn't like, ooh, you got a faster processor. No, it's knowing how to handle your intellectual emotions so that you can decide what to be curious in. You know, I know how to make myself curious about anything, so when I find myself in a situation of having to do something, and I'm like, that doesn't seem fun. Well, I turn on my curiosity and I can learn enough to get it done, and usually it becomes more interesting in the process as well. And really, being smart, acting intelligent, is just having control of your intellectual, your analytic emotions. But we all know that if we're purists.